Baltimore's Sandtown neighborhood, the heart of West Baltimore and one of the city's poorest areas. This is where Freddie Gray grew up, known to friends as Pepper. Why was his nickname Pepper?
He said, I never heard of pepper being bad for nobody. Salt is bad for you, salt will kill you. But I never heard of nobody dying from pepper. Everybody loves pepper. And he was dark-skinned, so.
Brandon Ross is Freddie's godbrother. On April 12th, reports say Freddie was walking down the street when he made eye contact with officers and then ran. Police chased Gray and arrested him on the sidewalk here at the Gilmore homes. Where were you when he was arrested?
Right there with him. If you look at the original video that they shown or whatever, and you see the guy pointing, walking up to, that's me. Like, yeah, so, yeah, I was there throughout the whole thing, seen the whole process.
Freddie was conscious when he was loaded into a paddy wagon. When it arrived at the police station 45 minutes later, he was not.
Questions, why? He didn't do it to himself. He didn't have those injuries before he came in contact. I mean, why?
Go right there, him right there, you on a bike.
A week later, Freddie Gray died of a severed spine. Baltimore erupted in protest, and then flames. The National Guard rolled in, while the mayor imposed a curfew. Freddie Gray's death sparked an anger that captured national attention. But that anger was rooted in a fractured relationship with police that goes back decades.
Where is he at? He's dead! And where y'all at? Y'all want to kill us!
As calls for accountability grew, fault lines traveled to Baltimore to investigate its long history of police violence.
I might be the next one shot. I might be Trayvon Martin. I might be the next one.
Does that make you scared?
It makes me scared. It makes me scared for everybody. The cops is a legalized gang. Who's going to judge them when they kill somebody? Can we get justice? Can we?
For weeks, Baltimore was on edge, while people called for justice in the death of Freddie Gray. When State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby stepped to the podium on May 1st, the city held its breath.
The findings of our comprehensive, thorough, and independent investigation, coupled with the medical examiner's determination that Mr. Gray's death was a homicide, which we received today, has led us to believe that we have probable cause to file criminal charges. To the people of Baltimore and the demonstrators across America, I heard your call for no justice, no peace. Your peace is sincerely needed as I work to deliver justice on behalf of this young man.
Ms. Mosby, what do you think needs to be done to make sure what happened to Freddie Gray doesn't happen again?
Accountability.
How are we going to get there?
You're getting it today.
Mosby charged 6 officers, including the driver of the police van, who was arrested for second-degree murder.
When the attorney gave that, I was like, thank you, somebody finally said it. Finally, somebody is sending the police to jail for what they have done.
But charges in the Freddie Gray case are the exception.
We keep pushing forward. We keep pushing forward. You wanna know why? Because we still got a lot of other people out there that's being victimized. And it's not only for him. It's for Ferguson. It's for Trayvon Martin, too. It's for anybody who has been victimized, brutalized by the police department. They are crooked. They are frauds. I don't like it.
In the crowd, people had come to celebrate, but also to mourn.
It's not the first murder that happened to a kid in Baltimore City.
James Davis says his nephew died this year after being shot by police.
They shot him at a kid's birthday party. They was fighting in there, and the police came in there. He had a knife and everything, but he ain't know who called. Somebody just said, drop the knife. And before he was able to drop the knife, they shot him and everything in his chest and killed him. And just because there were no videos there, the police got away with that murder.
They're not God. They can't just take God people that he brought on this world. They can't do that. It's wrong.
Erica Peterson says her mother died after being tased by police in 2007.
Y'all did not have to get out y'all car, kill her, tase her, drag her across the street. Y'all didn't have to do that. She was on her way home to her kids, and she never made it. And it hurts.
There have been investigations into both cases, but to date, no charges have been brought against the officers involved. At least 109 people died in police encounters in Maryland between 2010 and 2014. Officers were charged in only 2 of those cases.
This has been going on and on and on, and I'm just talking about the cases that have been high profile. That's just the cases that went to trial or the press decided to cover.
Attorney A. Dwight Pettit has represented dozens of victims of alleged police brutality in Baltimore.
It is a very dangerous city because you have this occupation force of the police, but you don't have any cooperation between the police and the citizenry because of this line of demarcation. Who are the bad guys? The public doesn't know whether the bad guys is officer friendly or the bad guys is Johnny Gangster. How do they make the determination?
As protests and celebrations in Sandtown died down, the streets remain tense. Were you all surprised when you heard about what happened to Freddie Gray?
No.
Because it's happening everywhere. It's happening everywhere.
So explain that to me. Like, how common is this? How
We been getting our ass whipped by police.
Yeah, sir.
how common is this?
Security mall.
And they kill somebody on foot and everything.
A police or not, he going straight running little kid over. Little kid was trying to get out the way of the whole riot, trying to go home. He was probably like 13 or 12. The knockers ran that kid leg over and kept running.
Police aren't actually police. To police something means to organize traffic, maintain, and take care of. The police, as we know them, are an occupying force sent to subjugate and oppress the poor.
Sorry, let's just... How common is this? Just
Every day.
Every day.
That's common.
every day.
That's like common.
My 2-year-old daughter, her first word was helicopter.
And they're so low. See, there's something popping off.
What are they doing?
I don't know. There's something around here. They're saying moving back away from the officers. Yo, there's an altercation. There's an altercation around here right now.
What's going on?
Man.
Come on, I'm ready.
It's up to you.
Yeah? Should we go see what's going on? A gunshot was heard and a man is lying on the street. But police here are responding to questions with pepper spray. And for now, people are assuming the worst.
All these people have been pepper sprayed. It appears that someone was shot or arrested. We just heard helicopters. We don't quite know what's going on. The police don't want to talk to us. They've just been pepper spraying people at very close range.
Y'all did it again! Y'all did it again! We just stopped! We just stopped for you all! We just got everybody right for you all! And y'all did it again!
Stop, come on! Can you please tell us, did somebody get shot? We're moving back, but can you just... Are we not allowed to ask questions? Did somebody get shot?
As it turned out, nobody had been shot. Police say the man's gun went off and he was arrested on a firearms violation.
The environment is so charged right now that anything that happens there, we're going to immediately think the worst. Like the book says, feelings buried alive never die. This stuff is buried alive. It's right under the surface. And there might be a scab on it, but it's a thin scab, and as soon as there's a brush, it starts to bleed again, over and over and over again.
While the nation's attention was fixed on Freddie Gray's death, a string of alleged police brutality cases continued unresolved in Baltimore. On a summer evening 2 years ago, Abdul Salam was driving home when police pulled him over.
Once I got maybe about halfway down to my house, right here, I saw police in my rearview darting down.
Just following you?
Following down. Once I got about here, they announced for me to stop my vehicle.
Okay.
So then I thought it made sense to pull out of the driveway, out of the way, with my 3-year-old son, he'd be comfortable, pull into the driveway.
Police say Salam wasn't wearing his seatbelt. Salam claims he was. Then, according to Salam, the officers became violent.
When he handcuffed me, he immediately picked me up again from the back in a bear hug type position and slammed me over here.
So you're here?
I'm right here. He got me on my stomach like he asked, right?
Yeah.
So I'm finally on my stomach.
Yeah.
Although I had
and
to
you're
take...
handcuffed?
In handcuffs.
Yeah.
I'm on my stomach. The officer drops down in a wrestling type of action, you know, real fast. I just didn't know what was going to take place at that point. And my biggest fear was that I wouldn't get to see my son again.
He said that's not right. Put his legs all the way in the
Some of Salam's neighbors recorded the scene on their phones.
Most of y'all service are already handcuffed. This is unnecessary. That's why everybody out here saying that's not right. They think just because he's black, just because he's black, that's why they white police took him for no reason. Why did he even do nothing? He just got out of the car.
It's unfortunate, but it's the normal. It's the norm. And this was just a reminder that day that, you know, you're never too old, you're never too professional to get an ass whooping from a police officer.
He's seen them beat him up, and there is no reason why they did that. My son fears the police. We get in a car, and if I turn the car on, just to turn it on, and I don't have my seatbelt on, he says, I better put my seatbelt on before the police come to beat us up. And that's horrifying.
Salam was charged with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest, charges that were later dropped.
What would have happened if your neighbors weren't around?
I might not have made it that day, yeah. Especially when 2 weeks later, when you have a top. Oh, that's... Especially like 17 days later, they take a man's life, the same officers. The same officers, 2 blocks, walking distance. Whew.
Those officers, Nicholas Chapman and Jorge Bernardes Ruiz, made another traffic stop at this intersection 2 weeks later. This time, they pulled over Tawanda Jones's brother, Tyrone West. As the officers searched West, they claim he resisted, and a fight broke out. Officer Chapman called for backup.
Unit on Cat 1 Kmart, is everything okay?
13. 13.
Neighbors said it was about 25 people over top of my brother kicking him and hitting. They said they never saw nobody get beat like that, never. You talking about armed men and women with batons, with weapons, with steel-toe boots. Armed. He wasn't armed. He got on shorts and a tank top. His skin is revealed. It's summer. Who's gonna fight with 20 people almost? Are you crazy for what?
Shawanda Lewis was just arriving home when she says she heard people yelling.
I seen everything that happened from the beginning to the end. Everything. They went from the car to the corner, from the corner to across the street, from that side of the street to in front of the second house. And he asked for help a million times.
Lewis told investigators she saw West get maced, then try to run away. Witnesses also reported seeing officers punch, kick, and hit West with batons after tackling him to the ground.
They told me if I don't move, they're gonna do the same thing to me. It was a mess.
Were you scared?
No, I wasn't scared. I mean, I was pissed because they were beating the man to death.
Yeah, beating him to death.
When Officer Corey Jennings arrived as backup, he saw Morgan State Police Officer David Lewis with his knee on West's back.
Myself and Officer Parker walked up to the suspect. This
is audio from Jennings' statement to homicide detectives.
It was hot. My partner, Officer Parker, told the Morgan State officer after a few minutes that, let him up, get off his back. At that time, he felt extremely heavy, like it was just dead weight. And when I picked him up, his face, his skin appeared to be gray. We put him over there. I then reached down, checked his neck for a pulse, nothing at that time.
Jennings and another officer tried to revive West, unsuccessfully.
They deserve time. I want them to realize in a cell block what they did day after day after day. I want them to hear Tyrone West screaming, help, help, stop, stop, help, help, stop, stop.
The medical examiner's office did not rule West's death a homicide, concluding that he died from an irregular heartbeat and dehydration.
When they pulled his hair, all hell broke loose. And that's how it went. And it's sad that it happened, and I feel your pain.
It's horrible.
But I don't understand how 2 cops can still be on the force after this.
Prosecutors did not bring indictments against officers in either case. The West and Salam families are suing the officers and the Baltimore Police Department.
We won't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop. To kill a cop. To kill a cop. In cell block. In cell block. We won't stop.
It's 657 days, and we're out here for West Wednesday, where we hold all police accountable for all the police brutality that's going on in the city, and matter of fact, all over the world. These are not isolated incidents. This is happening all over the world, and it's sad that it finally got to light in our town.
What's happened to those officers?
Nothing. They're still on payroll, still walking the beat.
They're still in this building?
Still working, yes. And they might have shipped them different spots, but as far as I know, they're still working, and they're still working here.
The Baltimore Police Department declined to make Officers Chapman and Bernardus Ruiz available for an interview.
We told them, we're not going anywhere. They want to cover it up like this is the first time. They know it's not the first time. This has been going on forever. This is the first time they got caught up, that's all. Let's not get it twisted.
The vast majority of alleged police brutality cases in Baltimore go unprosecuted. According to former Detective Joe Crystal, a code of silence inside the police department contributes to the problem. In October 2011, Crystal found out what happens when you break that code.
This is Prentice Place. You guys can see it's mostly vacant homes back here. I believe this was the house right here.
Crystal and his colleagues chased after drug suspect Antoine Green and arrested him after he broke into this house to hide.
I could hear the bang and the scuffle. I mean, it was obvious to anybody, cop, person, 6-year-old child, what went on, at that point.
And what had happened?
We find out later on from the trial and everything that he was assaulted, that Green was assaulted while still handcuffed by Officer Williams. They take Green out of the back room, his shirt's ripped open now. I noticed more like he's limping like profusely.
Crystal reported the incident to a supervisor.
He told me basically that if I snitched, my career was over, and that if I go to internal affairs, they're going to try to get you to rat, and your career won't be worth. His exact words were, I think it was, your career won't be worth.
Then he went to the prosecutor's office, which eventually pressed charges.
It's never right to take justice into your own hands. You know, we're cops. We're supposed to uphold the law, not take it into our own hands. Once we start doing that, we're no longer cops anymore. We're vigilantes.
As a trial for the officers began, Crystal's career in Baltimore began to unravel.
I went to go move my car, and as I came forward and looked, somebody had put a dead rat on my car, put his head underneath the windshield of the car, and it was kind of a crazy feeling. I know what the message was. So,
what was the message?
You know, basically, this is what we think of you. You're dead to us, you know?
Crystal moved to Florida and has been hesitant to return.
What would happen if the command staff found out you were here, driving through the streets?
I don't know, and I don't want to find out, but I doubt anything good. Reporting and testifying against other cops, you know, especially when you have, you know, basically a commission that supports the quote-unquote blue wall of silence, that's the scariest thing you could do as a cop.
What is the blue wall of silence?
Cops aren't supposed to speak about what other cops do.
You know that guy?
Yeah, he's an Eastern District wagon man. So if I wasn't with you guys, I'd be scared right now, to be honest.
When the officers were convicted last year, Crystal says Police Commissioner Anthony Batts missed an opportunity to make changes.
In 2014, Commissioner Batts had 2 cops that were under his command were found guilty by a Baltimore jury for taking a guy out of a wagon and assaulting him. If you had taken steps when a man was assaulted, maybe Freddie Gray didn't have to die.
Commissioner Batts declined an interview request. After Gray's death, the U.S. Department of Justice opened an investigation into the Baltimore Police Department. We took Crystal's claims to Gene Ryan, the president of Baltimore's police union, just after a membership meeting.
Do you think there's accountability for police misconduct in Baltimore?
Well, there's investigations. I mean, there's been almost 300 officers that have been terminated in the last, it was 12 to 15 years. I had a report of my own, and that doesn't count the officers that resign in lieu of termination or the ones that have been punished. So there's a system in place. I mean, things are happening. The investigations are done.
Is there a blue wall of silence when it comes to protecting officers who've been accused of misconduct?
No. Can I finish up now, guys?
What happens to police officers who've been accused of misconduct who are still on the force? We've been following a couple of cases where a couple of officers were involved.
I can't make a comment without knowing the facts. If you want to call here and leave the information tomorrow morning, I'll look into it.
But
okay?
Is this culture of silence making people safer here? Does it make people safer, Mr. Ryan?
Yeah, that's Papa. Yeah, Papa, baby.
Back in Sandtown, Freddie's godbrother Brandon says the gap between police and locals is wider than ever.
Do people trust the police?
Oh, nah. Trust, nah. Is it a reason that we should trust them? Give me a reason. Tell them to give us a reason that we should trust them. Maybe we can start trusting. They can't even give us a reason. Us against them. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the cops against the robbers, it's cops against the community. If I would have chased that man down, put him in handcuffs, put him in my vehicle, in my van, and that happened to him, what you think would have happened to me? Right, I would have been locked up for murder, whatever case may be, the same day, whatever, and gone to jail, no bail, fighting these charges. That's all I want what happened to them. I want them held accountable, you know what I'm saying, the right way.
It will be months before there's any outcome in the trial of the officers charged in Freddie Gray's death. If the officers aren't convicted, if they just get off on all charges.
What's going to happen in Sandtown if the officer's not convicted? What happened in Sandtown when officers did what they did to Freddie? world know about it, right? So if the officer's not convicted about that, the world gonna know about it.